What's up, everybody? Manny Coates here with Helium 10, and today I am blessed to be joined by two awesome guys here from our company. We've got Boyan Gajic. He is the chief engineer at our company. He's going to be talking about some pretty critical stuff, some interesting details. How you doing?
Hello, everybody. I'm good, thank you.
And then everybody knows Bradley Sutton. He does all the videos that you guys have been learning on. If you go into Helium 10 and you click onto the Learn page or the Learn button, you'll see all the videos. He's our coordinator here at Helium 10, and he's going to be talking about a lot of cool things. And all of it is going to be about keyword research, because there's a lot of confusion right now in the marketplace, especially in our Facebook groups. Actually, if you're not part of both of our Facebook groups, I'm going to mention them right now. Okay, we have the Helium 10 Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, type in Helium 10, and you'll see it. Also, you can type in FBA High Rollers. If you actually search for that, that's our bigger group. We've got about 54,000 Amazon sellers in there, and we cover Helium 10 and all kinds of goodness in there as well. So, Bradley, where should we start? There's a lot of questions going on in the groups. What's something that you see come up all the time? And what is the main issue that we're seeing here?
Well, everything can be tied to what we call the Amazon Search Shuffle, ASS for short. And you can have fun with that.
S. Yeah, that is an easy way to remember it.
Exactly. So it's real similar to something that, what did they call it before, 10, 15 years ago, like Google Dance or something like that, where things were coming around. Yeah, so we're seeing something similar right now where somebody will be tracking their keyword and they're like, wait a minute, it looks like the Richter scale. You know, I was on page 1, position 5, then 2 hours later, it's not ranked, or page 7, position 200, and goes back to page 1. What's going on? And so people, sometimes are saying, oh, maybe Helium 10 has a bug, but that's not the case.
Yeah. So just to elaborate on that a little bit, people that are using our keyword tracker tool in Helium 10 are noticing differences between what we're tracking in there for a particular keyword for an ASIN and what they see when they go to Amazon and do a search. So if you're selling collagen peptides, right, and you type in collagen peptides, our keyword tracker might actually be showing that in position 17, and then when you go and look it up yourself, you go, no, I'm in position 3. I don't understand why that's happening. Or worse yet, we've seen it where somebody says, no, I'm on page 2, I'm number 47, but keyword tracker in Helium 10 is saying I'm not even in the top 306. I'm not even listed. So we're going to be talking about how you can actually do these tests yourself. And Bradley's been awesome. He's actually found a lot of scenarios where you can actually see the differences. Boyan's gone even deeper. And we've also got something that's just rolled out that's going to help with that a little bit. So why don't you talk about, actually, did you want to mention something about what we just talked about? And then you can talk about how to actually simulate what we just did.
Yeah, like there's a little bit of history there. A similar thing happened almost a year ago. So back in November 2017, we noticed that for a few days, like Amazon catalog kind of lost stability. So based on where you are and how often you're querying that catalog, you would see changes. One search will determine 4,000 results. The next search for the same keyword will determine 10,000 results. And the thing stabilized after a few days. They kind of went back to normal. There's a rumor that Amazon, or A9 specifically, division of Amazon that's in charge of coming up with search algorithm. So there's a rumor that they tried to move a new search model to production, and tried and failed to stabilize the new model. So they went back to the drawing board. They made adjustments. They changed technology, and then back in August we kind of started seeing the same pattern where based on your vantage point, your results would change dramatically. So that's one aspect of the change that we're seeing. The other one is that now that things are kind of slowly starting to stabilize, we're still seeing 2 versions of a catalog essentially. So the listing is the same, but when you run your search, you might fall in one of two worlds. So in one of those worlds, your product might be ranked on page 1. The other world says, oh no, you're on page 5, and there doesn't seem to be easy way to direct your query to one or the other. It feels that it's pretty random. So unless there is a search history, unless you already have established a record with Amazon. So if you're starting with incognito browser, for example, you might hit one or the other catalog even from the same location. So you might have two different browsers running at the same time, and you might be seeing two different catalogs, like wildly different set of results.
Interesting. And that's what you found when you were actually doing the search. You just mentioned an incognito window.
Yeah.
You went even further than that.
Yeah, so I did one. You could actually see this in the Helium 10 users group. I made an announcement. I put a bunch of screen captures, but I tried my collagen peptides powder search, for and looking for a certain ASIN. On Chrome, it was like page 6, position whatever, 180, and Chrome Incognito, something similar. And I tried on my phone at the time, a Safari. It was Safari Private. It showed the position 6. A couple keyword trackers, including Helium 10 keyword trackers, showed position 6. But then I tried Edge, and I tried in private on Edge, and everything was a little bit different, but kind of like what he says, in those two worlds. It wasn't like all over the place. It was either on page 1 or it was on page 7. It's kind of like if you're a Netflix Stranger Things fan, we have the main world, and then we have the upside down world. And so I have those screenshots there, and when I put that up there, people were saying they tried it out, and you guys could try it out too, where you enter in a certain keyword, and you're looking for a product that you think should be on page 1, but you try all these different browsers, you're going to get different results. And that's what's like making some people go crazy, because they're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be on page 1, and they're not getting sales, but maybe on their browser they're page 1, but all the other browsers that everybody else is using, maybe they're on page 6. So it's this, whatever Amazon is doing right now, it's really kind of frustrating a lot of sellers.
And boy, and just to clarify, when this happened a year ago, it was a short amount of time, right? We saw it go crazy, lasted what, how many days?
Like 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days, and then it went back to normal. And that's kind of what we were expecting this time. And it's now been much longer than that.
Right, so it's been almost a month, and when I said that things stabilized, they didn't really stabilize. This time they didn't stabilize on their own. We just found out a way. We found a way to discover edge locations that are stable. So without getting too technical, the Amazon catalog is not really hosted in one place. There might be one place where it's the ground truth, but then not everybody's going straight to that catalog. Instead of doing that, Amazon is kind of replicating the catalog across the edge locations. So based on the edge location that you hit, you might be seeing different results. So we figured out how to isolate and ignore edge locations that are still not stable. So that stability is no longer affecting our results or keyword tracker performance, but still the fact that there are two worlds might be indicating that Amazon is just simply running a test.
Would you say it's a test, or do you think it's more of a technical glitch based on what they're doing?
The first part with stability, I still believe it's a technical glitch. So seeing a difference in catalog, the number of products oscillating between 1,000 and 15,000, it's hard to see a pattern there. How's that a test? Like what's being tested?
So we didn't talk about that. So you're talking about when you do same computer, same browser, whatever, everything's the same. You do the search for the same keyword within a minute or two, and one will say it returns 4,000 results. The next one says it returns 7,000.
And it sounds related because some of the products will simply disappear. That's related to what you mentioned, that you might be on page 2, you're 40 something, and the next search you're not in 306. And if you pay close attention, the number of products that Amazon returns changes as well at the same time. So it's not just the ranking; it's the size of the catalog that changes, and that's something that we were able to isolate and kind of put aside, but the other part where you can see that the smaller oscillations or when it's isolated to specific products, it might not be every product on the page. You run a search, you see 15 results, and then the result number 16 is not there anymore. So 15 products might have a decent amount of stability. But then the 1 or 2 on the page 1 might have a significant oscillations, like a lot of shuffling there.
Gotcha.
So that I believe is that new model being put in production and being tested, and I would think that eventually things will get stable, or those two worlds will converge. As long as you have no established history with Amazon. What's happening, I believe, is something similar to what happened with Google 10 or 15 years ago, when results starting to be more personalized. So a year ago, you go on Amazon, and yes, there might be a difference if you're in Alaska or Texas, but in general, continental USA, you would see similar results regardless of your search history. Maybe you purchased a book a year ago, you still get same query as a person that purchased a electric scooter a year ago on Amazon. Now it feels like that search algorithm and the new model are getting smarter, and there will likely be more connectivity, more attempts to deduce what you're looking for, not just based on the keywords that you're entering, but also based on the history that you have with Amazon. And we know that Amazon is doing that. Like their customer support is highly automated, and there's a large degree of artificial intelligence in Amazon customer support. And if they're investing so much in their support, I'm sure they're doing even more with their A9 and with their catalog. So I would expect things to get more diverse in the future as your history with Amazon is growing. But with that clean slate, with that sterile environment, I expect things to kind of converge. So
does geolocation or any of those other things factor into some of the results that we're seeing, in your opinion?
It's more dependent on delivered to address. So,
delivered to.
Yeah. So if you start a fresh session, Amazon will geolocate. Like Amazon will try to deduce your location based on your IP address. Mm-hmm. Now that will be automatically applied as delivered to or shipped to address. If you change that delivered to address, your results might change. So mm-hmm. Your location is still known to Amazon, but your intention is different. If you switch that delivered to location, they will kind of honor your expressed desire to deliver that product to specific location. So if you're in California and you're trying to deliver to Irvine, you might get one set of results. If you try to deliver to Mexico, you will likely get a different set of results. The products that you get if you're trying to deliver to Mexico might not be deliverable to Mexico. Mm-hmm. So it's not one for one. So the catalog will not shrink to products that are deliverable to Mexico, but the results will change. So.
Interesting. So one of the things that we saw a lot of is people are saying, well, I don't see the same results in other tools. Like when they go into Helium 10's keyword tracker, like you said, it was a Richter scale. You guys seen the earthquake drawings, right, where it goes up and down. And that's kind of what it looks like. But the reason for that, and we've looked into this when people sent in a message to support, is that the tools that they're using a lot of times aren't checking that often. They're checking once a week. So they're just not picking up all these variables, all the differences. With Keyword Tracker, we're checking every single day. And in many cases, when you guys have the boost feature turned on, we're checking every single hour. And that's when you see the first hour, it's ranked in a position. The next hour, it's somewhere else. And that's where you see it. If you notice, it's jumping almost back and forth consistently between two similar points. But it's an accuracy thing, right? Helium 10 is so accurate and it's picking it up so often that you're actually, it's showing these things that you might not normally find or normally see. And the other thing is that Keyword Tracker by Helium 10 is, if it's not the most used keyword tracker in the world, it's right up there. It's used by most people. So when something's used by everybody and something like this happens, an anomaly like this, just more people are going to voice their opinion. They're going to say, hey, what's going on? So you're going to have 20 people for every one person in another tool that says something, because there's just that many more people that are using it. But I want to go back to you, Boyan, real quick. You mentioned that this is no longer an issue, or is it for most people or all people, or because you found a way to, I guess you call them the other worlds, the edges, to kind of smooth that out? And when did that happen?
Right. So we're making updates. We're rolling out updates every day. So we pushed the most recent one today. So there will be more stability, and we actually debated we could obfuscate those gyrations, I guess. So we could reduce the number of checks that we're doing, or we could just average them out. So some tools will do one thing, some tools will do the other thing. We decided to leave that exposed, because that is the actual data point that's coming out. So moving forward, like starting from a few hours ago, things will be more stable, but there will still be two bands for some of the products. So some of the products are pretty stable. They might oscillate within a couple of positions, go from 15 to 13 and down to 17, and that's pretty normal and expected that like every sale can make an impact. Some products will still oscillate in those two bands, and that's just what we're seeing out there. That's not something that we're imagining. Like that's the result.
And that's important.
Amazon.
That's important too, because some people have a negative view of that. But for me, if I had a lot of private label products, I want to see. What I'm concerned is, I don't care what I'm ranked in my own browser. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not buying my own product. I want to know what the millions of people who are Amazon buyers are seeing. And if they're seeing if some are seeing one thing and some are seeing the other, I don't want to just see that I'm on page one. I want to see, where it is. And some of these things, you mentioned, it's, we've seen different things on geolocation, before. We've done tests, but it would be like maybe one is ranked 15 and then Alabama's ranked 18 or 21. It would be kind of like really close. We've never seen this huge difference before. And for me personally, I'd want to see the big changes if that's actually happening. Of course, all of us are hoping that it's going to steady, because I've seen some people in the message boards say that I used to be selling this amount, but now I'm only selling this amount, and what's going on? Well, obviously, if on half the sessions half the buyer sessions, now people, depending on what browser they are or where they're shipped to address, if now it's on page 7, well, obviously they're not going to be getting any sales from being on page 7. Yeah. So
or the inverse. Maybe you weren't on page 1 and now it's flipping back and forth, and you're like, whoa, this is kind of cool, because we've seen that as well.
Exactly.
So
the underlying data, when you look, if you're sitting in Amazon, the underlying data, your conversion rates, your number of impressions, it's not changing. It's stable, but the way to interpret that might be changed, or it looks like it's changing, and certain data points might be affecting listing performance more than some others, and we had that discussion here. Like, we are trying to understand what products are being penalized with that new model, and there are different theories out there from the age of the listing, the number of child variations, to number of promotions that product went through in the past. So we're still trying to understand that, but yeah, it's a popular theory, I guess. Not we're still debating if that's what's happening. That the promotions, that kind of focus promotions that the sellers are doing, are kind of having negative impact in that other world where the rules are slightly different, and you might be penalized more than somebody else for doing the discount or something like that.
And Bradley, we've all seen Amazon's rolling out different types of grids, different kinds of search results. They're adding different kinds of, I think you even saw, right? There was before you can, without scrolling down, you couldn't even see the organic search results because of all the different, I don't know what you would call them, widgets by Amazon?
Widgets, modules, whatever,
Yeah, so they're rolling all these things out, and that's not only affecting this kind of stuff, it should be affecting launches.
Yeah.
Because instead of there being 16 results or however many results, now there's 3 times as many perhaps, right? Where everything's visible on one page, which means all of those products get sales, which means you have to sell more units in order to get on page 1. What are you seeing with launches?
Yeah, so, before, like, let's say you were on page 2, maybe position 28. Well, to get to page 1, you couldn't, it's not, I wouldn't call it easy, but there was a set number you can get to page 1. To move up from position 28 to maybe position 10 would take X amount of units. But now, when position 25 is already on page 1, and there's 48 other products plus 12 sponsored, or 12 to 16 sponsored ads, it's the competition for page one is a lot more difficult. And what we're seeing, from people on the message boards and people who are doing, tests on it is things such as, the two-step URL is not as effective, as before. People are either saying that they have to throw a lot more units now as opposed to before. And some people are just saying the URL doesn't work, as at all, for them. They don't see any movement. And a lot of it might be because of this Amazon search shuffle, and also the grids being on there. And then now, like you said, there's these modules that Amazon puts priority on, like what I call the Spark program is like Amazon's Pinterest, where they have their influencers and they do these little mini blogs, but they'll stick that right at the top of a listing. Right at the top, you'll see, Amazon, top from our brands. You'll see that before anything. And sometimes people are hitting those and not even getting to the organic results anymore. So this whole thing is really having an effect across the board.
Cool. And so we've kind of toyed with the idea of getting some experts in this field, people that do lots of launches. Bradley has done hundreds of launches, so he's an expert with this. Knows a lot of people have done even more launches. So if we can get those guys on a show, which is what we're going to try to do, we can talk about what everybody's seeing that's working. And maybe that ties into what Boyan's saying, that some of that stuff is just affecting the way everything works. So anything else that we should add in before we close this out that we missed?
I guess go back to those promotions and you'll see the results. Like if the entire community is working on it and trying to understand what's happening, like there'll be more feedback. So
yeah, we're seeing there's definitely some shifting and some changing with two-step URLs, storefront URLs. It's working fantastic for some people, not working well for others. But there's just a million different combinations, right, folks? I mean, whether a product is brand new, whether it's an old product, whether they've done launches before, whether that account has done launches before, what discount are you guys offering versus, high versus low versus, you name it. It could be categories. There's a million things. So we'll be talking to people that have done thousands of launches and try to figure this all out. But one thing's for sure, guys, if you've been seeing some really weird oscillation, some jumps, the ASS, the Amazon Search Shuffle, right? If you're seeing this in Keyword Tracker, that should be a thing of the past, for the most part, for most of you, as of today. So go in tomorrow after you've listened to this podcast or watch this video, and you should start seeing things stabilized a bit in the tool. So it'll make people rest a little bit easier. It still might be slightly different than what you see, but it shouldn't be jumping around like crazy. Okay. That said, I think we're good with this. We're going to be doing another episode here, a video episode. We wanted to jump on tonight. I apologize. If you guys are watching the video, you can see the sun is setting behind us and it's washing us out. But we're going to be doing another video here in just a little bit, next episode, where we talk about indexing, because indexing is a huge thing right now. People are saying that they're not seeing their keywords indexed in tools, or it's not coming up when they type in their ASIN plus keyword and a lot of other stuff. So stick around, listen to that podcast. It's going to be really cool, a lot of information. And till next time, my name is Manny Coates. I'm here with, it's been a long day, with Boyan and Bradley, and we're going to be talking to you guys really soon. Take care, everybody.